that today I will derive. Let me start by thanking the Master of Ceremony for such a brilliant introduction. I would also like to make it very clear that today I will deliver my speech largely in Ndebele, just to prove that I am a national leader. Indeed, Matebererent is not marginalized. Let me begin. Bantu base Pumura, Bantu base Chabarara, Bantu be Gobaranda, Bantu be Ngurumane, Bantu be Ruveve, Brawa yonke ukufika echorocho, Rinjani ndiari bingerera ronke gakurukazi. Ndifuna ukurichera ronke ukuthi umongameri werizwe unomzana uED uyaritanda ronke kakuru. Njalo ndifuna futhi ukurichera ukuthi ringagorarera iAljazeera yakamba manga.
Sorry, mdala. Ukukamba manga.
That's what I said.
Sorry, mdala. Sorry.
Don't try to be clever with me.
Sorry, mdala wami, ngiyaxolisa.
Ngithi ringagorarera iAljazeera. Ku-Aljazeera documentary rapo konapo bakhona abanye bathi mina udandayed. Mina udandayed mina aringazi kuhle manga makura zvakanaka one. The only advice I have for you is look for a funeral policy immediately. There are those working in cahoots with Al-Jazeera to destabilize our beautiful country. It won't work. In fact, you will not work. Actually, there is no work. Rizanya. Documentary enareyo gaipumi. Let me make it very clear ukuthi ringagojwayera badara. Otherwise yakubetha umapolisa yakuchaya izibunu zako rezo konapo rapo. Yakuchera ukuthi dunusa kubethe izibunu zenezo konapo rapo. Ringagongena ku politics. Leave politics to politicians. Rina dlanini schwara riboche rirare kupera. In conclusion, I would like to say that this evil documentary, Red Al-Jazeera, is now causing repeated recent property. This documentary is now causing God bless Pumura, God bless Chorocho, God bless Gobaranda, God bless Matebererent. I thank you. Before I go, I would like to sing one of my favorite tunes from one of my favorite Matebererent artists. Indeed, the Zimbabwean artist, Rav Moma Jaivana.
Umoya wa mibo hausekorapa kangera ukachana kontuduzia tunga gijima mfa.
Businessman and politician, Daniel Schumber, has announced a $200,000 fund for a task force to investigate the findings in the Al Jazeera documentary, Gold Mafia. He made the announcement last week Friday. Schumber is the only 2018 presidential election contestant who stood his ground aside Nelson Chamisa in condemning the 2018 military coup on August 1, 2018. This is what he said.
We are able to structure a way forward. And it's also important to understand the imperviousness of the regional leaders. Indeed, Ramaphosa is at the center of it. But if we investigate a bit further, 2008, you will notice that Mbeki is the one who set off the blocks and handed over the nonsense to successive South African presidents.
Businessman and politician, Daniel Schumber, has announced a $200,000 fund for a task force to investigate the findings in the Al Jazeera documentary, Gold Mafia. He made the announcement last week Friday. Schumber is the only 2018 presidential election contestant who stood his ground aside Nelson Chamisa in condemning the 2018 military coup on August 1, 2018. This is what he said.
We are able to structure a way forward. And it's also important to understand the imperviousness of the regional leaders. Indeed, Ramaphosa is at the center of it. But if we investigate a bit further, 2008, you will notice that Mbeki is the one who set off the blocks and handed over the nonsense to successive South African presidents in cohabiting with ZANU-PF in its various forms of undermining our national integrity and in fostering the brutality that they perpetuate to this day. You also notice that we've continuously mentioned the looting, the corruption, the lack of constitutionalism, and this has continued to happen. It has happened even under my watch, from the time I was chairman in ZANU-PF of Masvingo province, from the time I was in the Central Committee, from the time I was in the Politburo, and we fostered this debate until they started to see me as an opponent. To the time I was in Parliament, I refused to join the ZANU-PF government on the three appointments to be minister, which I turned down, was because I did not agree in the policy. I chose to remain a legislature to introspect and carry out oversight. At great cost to me, some which Simba has mentioned, I lost a hotel, I lost 3 other commercial buildings and 13 houses. You all know Teleaccess, they cancelled my $100 million license. I got nothing out of it. They arrested me and they took away my estates, a farm I bought in Mvurwi. They gave me a farm in Kwekwe. When I continued to argue on issues of nationalism, issues of non-partisan, issues of entitlement, violence and corruption, they took away that farm. I lost equipment, cows, tractors, everything. So, but I made a decision, which decision must be made by any serious person who's trying to foster transformation. You don't mourn over things that that are perishable or things that you can replace. You keep the eye on the ball. We fought various constitutional wars. We declared the 2017 a coup. I was the only one who was in the Politburo of ZANU-PF who said this was a coup. And I'm saying this besides the G40 people who had already left the country. And when I did so on the 19th of December 2017, I was kicked out of the Politburo and remained in Parliament. When I continued to grill, and these were always on television, so the records are there, the ZANU-PF ministers over corruption, over unconstitutional legislation that they perpetuated in order to loot assets of other people, including SMM, if you remember the Mawere story. I pushed that narrative, and eventually they decided to withdraw me from Parliament. I had already anticipated this and had already started the United Democratic Alliance. But we made a decision that we were not going to contest elections. We were going to participate in the elections in preparation for 2023. So we didn't even post a single election agent. And as a consequence, even where I voted with 29 of my relatives, I'm not talking about members, in a constituency I had won 4 years earlier with more than 13,000 votes, I was said to have only got 24 votes. And where I had voted with 29 other people, photographs of the ballot papers, I had 0 votes. So to the extent that we might choose to ignore the realities, we are dealing with a system that is entitling itself to Zimbabwe as if it's theirs and we all are tenants and they are the landlords. And that they have to be dissuaded, not just verbally, not on Twitter spaces. We have to do measurable things. We need to signpost the issues and act on them. Acting is more than an issue of popularism and, hyping people, You might be headed with them somewhere else other than to victory. And I've said, let's have a calculated strategy on dealing with these gooks, because right now they are desperate. They've never been as confused as they are now. And if we don't act now, we are going to miss the opportunity to redeem Zimbabwe. So I made that decision. I've concurred with others that let's form a task force. Let's put what we have to put. And the little that I said I'm budgeting, which I've already got approval from my